Hey y'all, welcome back to Harmon Homestead. I have finally sat down today. I have been on my feet since 7 a.m. in our raised bed. Me and my husband tilled it up yesterday and we have planted our fall garden. So we're done with the summer stuff. We've planted beets, kale, English peas, turnip greens, and lettuce. So I've still got my Clemson spineless okra going that I planted July the 4th. It's not too tall. It's doing good. It's still producing heavily, so we're gonna leave that for a little while, a few more weeks, and then pull that up and plant radishes. So I wanted to do another Are You Prepared video because this has been weighing on my mind lately. Guys, when I, for one, look up like prepping videos or people tell you to stock up because you're getting prepared in case anything ever happens, and that way you'll be good, okay? I like stuff like that. But there's a lot of other things that we can prepare for that is really not mentioned. And this is going to be all over the road, what I'm fixing to talk about, because I really don't know how to get it out to you. We know that if you put something in writing, it's going to be there, okay? Unless something happens to that, like burnt, lost, thrown away. Otherwise, if you put something in writing, whatever you just wrote down is going to be there, okay? Until it's destroyed. You need to try to preserve knowledge. You need to prepare for this. For example, several years ago when me and my husband started homesteading, I could tell you the next season exactly what we planted and what luck we had with it and when we planted it. I still now every year look at my first and last frost dates, but I can't tell you what I planted several years ago. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how my garden looked. I can't tell you. I've got a vague idea, but I don't know exactly what happened in that garden. Don't know my results. It's gotten where hatching chickens. Guys, you will forget about this stuff. You will forget. If you just hatch one round of chickens, you're going to forget in 6 months exactly when those chickens hatch, when you're out there looking for an egg every day and you're 2 months off. You need to write this stuff down. I've started writing temps, any kind of notes about the weather. I've wrote inventory of stuff I have in the house like this. That way I don't go out and buy something else. If I've got 4 jugs of vinegar stashed away somewhere that I don't see every day, I'm not going to remember that unless I have it wrote down, look at that list, and be interactive with that documentation and go check it all the time. It's saving you money, it's saving you time, and it's making your life easier. And a lot of this you need to know to be more and more successful. And to leave a legacy, you need to be the best gardener you can be or the best homesteader you can be if your family is doing this full time, and you need to write it down. That way you'll know yourself. You're not going to be able to tell your kids how everything went if you can't remember yourself unless it's some huge event. Do you see what I'm saying? Things written down will last, okay? Always, unless it's destroyed. I would probably invest in a safe, have multiple copies of stuff that were important to me. I'm not saying just the daily temperatures, that would be in there, but everybody knows a birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, stuff like that that's very important documents, but there's also other important stuff that you can prepare, okay? This for one. This is the most important book on earth to me. This is the Holy Bible, and it's a King James Version. Okay, that's very important to me. I have multiple copies of that in my house. The reason I do is I don't want one copy and it get lost. I leave it somewhere, whatever. I like multiple copies. Now, can you find all this online? You bet you can. There may come a time where it's changed though. I looked this up, guys. The Bible has been edited over 30,000 times. So you're going to think, well, by the time my kids come up, this is not going to be changed. Well, probably not. No, but it may be in, the future. It very well could be, because think 30,000 times. 30,000 times that's been changed. So it's important to have multiple things on hand that you can pass down, that's something, if it really means something to you. And speaking of passing down, guys, if something is important to you, tell your kids, tell your siblings, tell whatever. Memories about your family, anything of that nature. Memories of how your community used to look or who used to live beside you. Like, oh, Mr. just say John Smith lived beside me and, you know, whoever was over here. That way somebody will know, because if they've taken a part in this community, their name's going to pop up somewhere down the road and you're going to know about it. We're in a very rural, tight-knit community. Everybody knows everybody, or we used to, but now they don't. That's the problem, because things have changed. And those people that founded this community is so very important. And you're trying to, if you're trying to do any kind of research on where you live, or just say you go to a local church and it's an old church, okay? I ran up on this problem. Looking at the history of the church, no one knows. And I bet you if you attend a rural church and it's an old church that was built in the 1800s or before, a lot of people aren't going to know the history on that. It's a very small congregation. Time goes by, doesn't seem important at the time. I have a great aunt that's, she sat down with her grandmother that was alive when the church was built, and sat down with her elder and got every piece of information she could gather and wrote that down. Do you know, to this day, that is the only history that is documented on the building of my actual church. There is none. I mean, you can get regular stuff like minutes and all that later on once people start doing that, but that one piece of documentation is the only history documented on that church. It's very important to this community. And so that's what I'm trying to say. If you can remember stuff, write it down. Write it down. That way you'll be able to pass that on. So if you're my age, go sit down with your grandmother, your grandfather, whoever, and try to get as much information as you can. If you really want to make your life sustainable and thrive in a certain area, and especially if it's like family land, that way you will know how things used to be, because that will mean something to you one day. Is this helping you for a natural disaster? Absolutely not. Not any way, shape, form, or fashion. But what it is doing is helping your daily life. You know, you kind of learn who you are. It means something to you. Pieces of the puzzle fall in place, and you get more of a sense of who you are. I've been on a genealogy kick lately, so I've been looking all this stuff up. Well, it just so happened that a person in the family had looked all this up, and no one really cares about it anymore, and I get it. And is it really that important? No. But we actually have to find out the more research I have done, and there's so many websites and places available that you can look things up. We actually had family that was on the Trail of Tears, and that is buried in Oklahoma. Their names are on the, if I'm saying this right, the Dawes Rolls. I never knew that. Guys, that was in the 1800s. You'd think that somebody this close to that time span would know. You know, if it was the 1600s or before that, I get it. I get not knowing that information anymore because it's been lost. It's just lost information. No one knows. But you'd think something in the 1800s, somebody would probably know that, but they didn't. No one knows. It's really what's important to you or not. But guys, you just open up a whole world into learning who you are and preparing yourself for any kind of event that might happen in your life. Once you know who you are, you can sustain yourself, and it just really helps, guys. It really helps. I've got a picture here. I want you to see this. Do you see that? Guys, this is an original picture from, don't know the year. I do have the names written on the back, but something like that. Take pictures. Get it in documentation. Take pictures of your homestead, your farm, whatever you're working on, whatever project. Take a picture of it, and then when you're done, take another picture of it. You can go print this stuff for 15 cents if you get a sale at a Walgreens, something like that, and have copies. Somebody may want to look through that one day, and somebody may want to reminisce. Somebody may want to know, okay, this is what, Grandpa did out here. Let's look at this. Look at that shed he built by hand. Stuff like that. All this stuff is being lost. And especially now with technology, you may have 5 million pictures on your phone, and I'm guilty of this, but how much of it is have you ever lost any of this stuff before? Has a text message ever been, just wacko and be deleted? Has everything, it's floating around somewhere, I can promise you that. But have you ever had a phone crash or a computer and lose stuff? You need to prepare, have multiple copies of stuff that means something to you. And this stuff means something to me. So am I prepared for, again, does this have anything to do with any kind of crisis or disaster? No, it doesn't, but it just lets you know who you are more, and it gives you a sense of security. That's what it does. And I just think people need to hear this right now about preparing to leave a legacy, because it's not all financial, it's not all tangible. A lot of it is stuff that wouldn't take $1 million for. The stuff that doesn't cost a lot usually, well, to me anyways, means more than, I wouldn't take cash for that picture. Any way, shape, form, or fashion. Just the way those children are dressed on that picture, that's lost. That's gone. You're not going to see that anymore on this earth. You're not going to see it. It's just don't happen. That's a time gone by that will never be back. And you can see you're becoming more knowledgeable. Like, hey, that's so-and-so. Look at how things were. Look at how times have changed. And that leaves a legacy. And then last but not least, guys, find somebody to pass this down to. If you don't have kids, if you're my age, get somebody else involved. That way they'll know and they'll be able to continue your family's legacy. You don't have to be a millionaire to be able to have a legacy. No, what it is living off a certain area of land for 250 years. That's a legacy. That's a legacy. To keep your family that close together and to keep them going on one certain spot of land and it mean that much to them, and they see everything from tragedies to blessings happen on that certain area, that is a legacy to me. To me, that's a legacy. And someone who passed all this stuff down had to be prepared to pass it on and keep it going. You have to involve other family members, the younger generation, my generation. No one's ever reached out to me except one person in my family and wanted to really get me involved in this kind of stuff. A lot of people think, well, the young kids don't care about this, and a lot of young kids think, well, grandma don't care about telling me all this, if they do want to continue it. Most of the time, people really don't care. But if you can get your hands on this stuff, just go talk to your grandparents, talk to your parents. This may seem so modern right now, like, yeah, mom was born in the whatever decade. I remember how that was, or that seems not far off, but one day it will be very far off and no one will know what happened. Go talk to your parents, go talk to your grandparents, go talk to whoever you can in your family that is older than you. Write this stuff down. You may have an interest in this someday. You can copy this stuff, you can print this stuff, guys, and keep it in a safe place. I would have it on multiple things, from everything from a jump drive to actual hard copies. Now, I've had jump drives before that had documents on it, stuff that I needed for school or whatnot. Guess where those are right now? I can't tell you. That's the problem with this technology stuff. It's floating out in Zootopia in a trash can or a landfill. I don't know. I don't know where it went. That's dangerous to me if you don't know where this information's going. A jump drive might be obsolete. I bet when y'all remember a VHS coming out, you would have thought that was the most high-tech thing ever. And now it's obsolete. So I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket with keeping any kind of important document that I was preparing for on just technology. I would have a hard copy in my hand and have multiple copies of that copy. That's just the best way to be as far as, preparing with anything like this, because this stuff may not mean anything to you right now, but one day it will. Some people like it more than others, and I like this kind of stuff. I've told you before, I'm an old soul. I'm definitely not like most 31-year-olds, but I see leaving a legacy on this spot, this actual piece of dirt that this house is on. This house itself is a legacy. I've told you before, it's been passed down over and over. I know who all had it, but my children or whoever has it behind me may not know. They're not going to know these people because most have passed on. So I need to write that down and let them know, like, hey, your blood has lived here since, for over 100 years since it was built. your family. Your family. Keeping stuff like that in the family and settling in one spot is very rare these days. Very rare. There was a mass exodus. People left. I told you that. People have been leaving, and kids always leave. A lot will come back home. Used to be, at least in this region, but now they don't. And I'm scared that this stuff is going to be lost forever unless we take the torch and we decide, hey, we're going to, if you are trying to live off this land and make something out of this land, guys, it's going to mean something to you. It is going to mean something to you. If you don't care about what you're doing and you don't care where you live, you know, I couldn't live like that. I would have to have something that meant something to me, but I'm sentimental like that. But it will, the more you toil and sweat and try on the place that you live, the more you'll have vested into it, and the more you'll want to vest back into it because it means so much to you. You've put so much hard work in. You want to keep it going. Physically, your property, okay, or your homestead or whatever. Now, let's keep the history of it going, and let's let people know what all's happened here. That way it'll mean something to them more. A lot of this stuff, like these old pictures, it means more to me because I'm putting a face with a name, or I'm putting my family's history in with what I'm trying to do now. It's very important, guys, to prepare for stuff like this. So again, books have multiple copies. If they mean something to you, I definitely would. You never know what will happen. You never know in 300 years what the world will even look like, okay? If the world is here, who knows? Photos, copy everything. Take a picture of a picture, print the picture. Have it in multiple locations, multiple ways of storage. If something really means something to you. And last but not least, that costs you not a dime, write down, journal, write down what happens, go talk to your elders, go talk to your children, talk about this stuff, let them know the history of a place. They will pull that out one day and it will bring a smile to their face and it will be important to them, okay? That's just what I think today about Are You Prepared? And we're gonna keep on going here at Harmon Homestead. We'll see you guys next time.